Okay, I'm going to grab some salad ingredients because obviously it's lovely barbecue weather and alfresco dining time. So first thing in the morning we'll head outside and we will grab us some produce so we can make some assorted salads up for the weekend. So this one's celery and this one is flat leaf Italian parsley. All right, so I will get myself some of these. Now inside this one, which is all netted, it keeps the bugs off it. I've got some cos lettuce as well as some of the curled parsley that I want for the tabbouleh. Alrighty, so in Queensland here we have whitefly, which is a problem, and it affects parsley especially, and I've just opened up the netting and I can just see the beginnings of some little white flecks flicking around in the garden, which it's not uncommon, and I don't want to use any chemicals, and I use the parsley for tabbouleh as well as dehydrating. So I'm going to harvest most of this that's already at this stage. So I'll cut it all off now and put it in the dehydrator so I don't leave it. I'm going to leave the netting off this garden for the day just because all of the cayenne chilies are in flower at the moment, so I want the native bees to be doing some pollinating for me. I'll come back and net this later today as well. So first job is to get hold of all of the parsley. Most of the parsley stripped, I can still see little tiny white, there's a couple there, little tiny white flecks as I'm pulling off the parsley. So I don't want to lose any. This is cut and grow type of gardening, so everything will reshoot, which is fine. Alrighty, I'm going to leave these cos lettuce because I've got some beautiful buttercup lettuce as well that I can get to for salads today. It's in this garden, which does have an insect screen on it. It's got the corn, it also has some lettuce, asparagus, tomatoes, and some beans growing. So I want some of these beautiful lettuce. So I'm just going to pick what I need for the green salad for this evening. Handful of fresh new chives getting added as well. That'll be perfect for the potato salad. And in just a few moments we're back inside where it's much cooler than it is outside, but we have our basket full of goodies from the garden. So not a huge vegetable garden out the front. There are 17 raised garden beds, but it's a very productive vegetable garden, and it also has some fruit trees and things in it as well. But at this time of year for salads, it's ideal. So bit of prior planning and starting to plant up all of those veggie beds several months ago has already started to pay off for us as far as all of our greens. I need to pop those into the dehydrator. They're the bay leaves, so they can go in the dehydrator because I'll be turning this on as well to do the parsley, all of this, most of this curly parsley. The flat leaf parsley will be fine to be eaten, and this is fine to be eaten as well. I'll keep some of this for tabbouleh because there is quite a bit of it. And like it's cut and grow, which means I can cut all of this now, and in a few weeks' time it'll be there again, but it won't be affected by whitefly. So all of this has been taken early. So the whitefly, which is a pest up here, very tiny little, it changes the colour of the foliage. They suck. The little nymphs suck on the foliage and turn it speckled yellow, and just the thought of eating a whole heap of little whitefly eggs is just repulsive. So as soon as I start to see the whitefly, which come with the warmer weather, it's time to get the parsley in and either net it with the insect inclusion net, which currently is around the other garden. So I might have to do a little bit of changing of some of our and different cloths that we've got outside there, so moving some of the grates and things around. All right, so there's my parsley. So I'll sort that for dehydrating. We have our salad lettuce that can all get put into cold water bath in the kitchen and then into the refrigerator once it's been drained really well. And that will be a main part of our green salad, along with our celery as well, and some of our shallots. So I'll be making a few salads out of all of the produce from the, like I said, it's not a big garden, but it's a very productive garden. So shallots, everything fresh this morning, which is great. And what I don't have growing in the garden, I can supplement from what's on the canning shelves. Things like corn and capsicum. So this time of year, our corn plants, as you've just seen, are not producing yet, but I've got plenty of corn kernels that were preserved in the last 3 quarts from last year. So I've got fresh sweet corn, which will get us through until the next lot. Okay. So a quick trip out to the garden this morning, and this is our produce. So we've got our parsley, which is our curly leaf parsley. This one is going to be made into some tabbouleh as well as into the dehydrator, all of the excess. I've got my bay leaves. I've got some fresh celery, some beautiful of the shallots, the green onions, some lettuce, salad lettuce, some chives, oregano, thyme, and some Italian flat parsley. So all of that's straight out of the garden. So that's a really good supplement for everything that's living here on the shelves as well. And I'll need some corn. So I've got some fresh corn down. I'm going to make some salads. So I'm going to be supplementing with what's not growing in the garden, although I do have potatoes I've picked. No, this will be easier. I already have some canned potatoes. So these are already cooked and diced, ready to go. So I will take off. 1 quart should be enough for the potatoes. As you saw, there's no capsicum growing in the garden yet at this time of year. Got plenty of flowers, but no capsicums. So I'm going to add a small jar of the capsicums. And although they're cooked, they still taste beautiful mixed in with the salad. I've got some chives and some shallots as well. That'll be the potato salad. Simple. I already have coleslaw, so I'll just make up a creamy coleslaw dressing for that. And I have the sweet corn. So I've got last year's sweet corn, needs to be used first. So I'll be using the sweet corn as well. And I'm just trying to think, is there anything else other than the chili sauces that I need from the shelves? Corn relish. That'll be perfect to add to one of the dressings as well. All right, let's get to making some simple salads. So one of the salads that my husband loves the most is the potato, ham and egg salad. Seriously expensive salad to buy, but not an expensive salad to make. So I shop down at the Mega Fresh when I'm picking up cuts of meat occasionally, when I'm going via the seafood house, usually if I'm picking up some fresh seafood or if I'm heading back from that direction. And they have these end pieces quite often early in the beginning of the week. You will quite often find them after the weekend because that's when they're slicing up all their deli meats. So this is just an end cap piece from leg ham, and this piece cost me $1.96. Okay, so it's quite cheap. It saves me having to do a big trip all the way out to the Hands outlet, which is where I need to go. And I really wanted to go out there this week, but I deliberately avoided it for budget reasons and thought, no, I still had these pieces that I've been cutting up for the last few days, and I thought that would be perfect instead. So I will chop up all of this ham. I'm just going to dice it finely and put it into the bowl and drain off and wash my potatoes because they're already cooked, so they're ready to go straight into a bowl. So this is just 320 grams of it's going to be chopped, diced up ham. If I was just to slice this ham up and put it in a bowl in the fridge, it would be gone in a couple of minutes. It wouldn't last. So this way it extends and I get better value for the money. Even though it's not expensive to buy it, I can make it go further by putting it into the salad. Now on the stove, I have got a bag of the pasta, so shell pasta. Again, not expensive. It's $1 for a bag of pasta. But while the stove is on and on boiling the pasta, I've thrown in half a dozen or so eggs out of the refrigerator. Okay, so they're going to cook at the same time. So they're whole eggs in their shells, and they're in with the pasta as well. So while the pasta's cooking, the eggs are boiling at the same time. So I'm not using extra water, but more importantly, I'm not using extra power by doing things separately. So I've rinsed out 2 quarts, it ended up being, of cooked canned potatoes off the shelves. So I've ended up using 2 jars, which means I've only got 1 jar left. So definitely need to do some more because having cooked potatoes on the shelves to make salad at this time of year instantly is just a no-brainer. So in my bowl, I'm going to add my 2 jars of potatoes plus the ham. There's about 350 grams of ham here, so I'll just put aside an extra 100 grams of ham, and I'll probably use that later on in the pasta salad, or when I'm doing possibly a cheese bake later on as well. What else do I need to add? I'll probably have to get some shallots and some chives and chop them up and put into the salad as well. So the chives are out of the garden, so they're just fresh chives. They're not garlic chives or anything else. But I'll just dice these little guys up finely instead of using a processor or anything like that. It's easier just to simply do it by hand. Just chopping them up, and then I'll pop them into the salad as well. And then I've got the shallots from the garden, or the green onions, and I'll chop those up as well. These are just a few that haven't gone to seed. There's not too many left outside that haven't gone to seed in the warmer weather, and that's okay. I don't mind them going to seed because it brings the bees in. They're quite potent, these ones. Towards the end of the season, they get very strong, so I don't need to use a lot of them in each of the salads because they are very strong flavoured, not like the new seasoned shallots that are growing outside at the moment, which are very sweet. These are quite strong. So I've got the shallots already as well. So we've got our chives, we've got our potato, we've got our ham. We'll throw in some of the shallots as well. I'm sure that we all have different ways that we like to make our different salads. These are just the way that I like to make them. I'm going to put in some capsicum as well. This is canned capsicum, so it's already cooked, so it's soft. So texture-wise, it's not as crunchy as fresh salad. And I will add some corn, about half a jar, so a fair bit of corn because it's quite a large salad as well. It'll add some colour and some crunch to this recipe. I'm going to add some of the parsley, the flat Italian parsley, and I'll add that in there as well, trying to get as many salad ingredients together, and also the eggs. So the eggs have been boiled and I need to chop them up, but instead of cutting them up finely or using an egg slicer or anything, I'm just going to use my cooling rack. So it's a really good technique, cheat trip. It's so simple. Just put your rack on top of your salad bowl, or if you're making egg salad, same thing, and it's just push your eggs through. It's that simple. And then give your rack a tap at the end, and that'll just clean all the eggs off, and you can just give it a wash. So you don't need to go out and get yourself egg cutting tools or do it all by hand to make a big mess. It's so simple doing it this way. So I'm just going to add about 6. I've cooked 8 eggs, so I'll just put 6 and reserve 2 eggs for one of the other salads later on, and then I'll get on to the dressings finally. So instead of using mayonnaise, I happen to have some Caesar salad dressing in the fridge. It's already opened, and so instead of opening a jar of mayonnaise, or worse still, me having to make mayonnaise, and it's getting quite hot today, so I don't feel like making any mayonnaise. I want to make this as quick as possible and then get on to the rest of the work that needs to be done. So I'm just going to add it's about 3/4 full container of Caesar salad dressing. You can use mayonnaise, you can use whatever you like. The base recipe usually for a salad dressing is mayonnaise, cream, sugar, and chicken powder. But I'm mixing it up a little bit because I'm just using ingredients that I already have in the fridge, because it saves me having to go out and do a grocery shop and I don't want to go out. So I avoid going to shops if I can help it. And I have sour cream that needs to be used, and I was going to dehydrate it, and this is one way I don't need to dehydrate it, is to make up a whole bunch of creamy salads. So potato salad is usually a bit of a tart salad, so sour cream seems like the best option for me. So I'm just going to put in whatever's left of this sour cream container. It's probably half. It's a 1 kilo or 1 litre container, and it's about half. And so I'll mix that through with the salad dressing, which is the Caesar salad dressing, and then add some other flavours once it's well blended together. Things like chicken salt. I could use chicken stock, and I normally would add chicken stock powder to it, or vegetable powder. That's my preferred ingredient when I'm doing salads, but the chicken salt is within hand's reach and the chicken stock is out of reach, so I'd need to get a ladder. And once again, I'm trying to make this as quick as possible today so that I can get about and do other jobs in the heat of the day. other than spending time in the kitchen. So I'm just going to whisk all that together so that that starts to break down in with all of the cream, so it's well mixed together. And then I'm going to add some white pepper. So ground up white pepper, and I really need to grind this up even further because it's quite coarse. But I'll put that aside and put that back through the spice grinder in a moment. So whole white peppercorns that have been ground up in the spice grinder to release their really intense flavour. I like it really hot. The rest of the family don't particularly like spicy food, so I've just got to be a bit cautious when I'm putting peppers and things. But you can adjust the seasoning, and the family will adjust the seasoning whenever they're eating their food. We've got issues with slugs outside at the moment in the vegetable garden, in around some of the lettuce, around baby cos lettuce, around the dwarf cos lettuce. And so I needed to dry some of the eggshells that I've just boiled up, and we've just used them in the salad. So instead of putting the oven on, which I've got to do later today anyway, and the dehydrator is running to do the bay leaves and other herbs and things, I figured I might as well just use one of the spare trays, put the eggshells into the dehydrator and just dry them there at the same time. So I'm only using one appliance, and it's not costing anywhere near as much money running two appliances. I'm waiting on a brand new bread tin that I, for the first time, have bought a bread tin. I've never bought a bread tin, so I'm probably going to think this is just awful idea. But anyway, I'm digressing, so let's get back to the salad dressing. Okay, so I'm just going to divide this dressing into two because I want to keep half for the pasta salad that I'll be making later, and I want to use some of it for the potato salad that we're making now. So I always add mustard into a potato salad. This happens to be truffle mustard. It's just a leftover from a hamper basket last Christmas, so I'm just going to put a teaspoon of this, but you can use Dijon. I usually use a seeded mustard. That's my favourite option, but I have got the truffle mustard open, so I'm just going to use that. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of caster sugar and whisk that through really well to make sure it starts to also blend. I normally would add some fresh lemon juice or limes, and I realised after I've made this that I've got limes behind me and I just didn't click to put them in, but we can add that later on. Paprika that I made up a couple of days ago when I was doing the capsicum sauces. So this is the capsicum skins that were dehydrated, turned into a paprika powder. So I'm just going to add that as well, and that's it. I'm going to then put it all together into the bowl with all of the ingredients. We've got the egg, the ham, the potato, the shallots, the chives, the corn, the capsicum, everything. And we're going to mix all that together really, really well. I'm going to do a check later on how much it costs for potato salad, ham and egg potato salad, or at least I'm pretty certain you can still buy potato salad with egg and ham in it. And I'm going to do a check to see, because I couldn't weigh this on my scales. I tried to, but it's over 3 kilos, turns out. When you use 2 quarts of potatoes, it's 2 kilos there alone, and then the salad dressing as well as the corn and other things. So there's over 3 kilos of salad here. So be just curious as to how much that would cost if I was to sort of purchase it, because the only ingredient that I've had to purchase in this bowl is the ham, which was under $2, which, you know, for the cost of living, keeping prices down for the food budget, that's pretty good. And it's going to go a long way. It's going to be shared with other members of family as well. So into a glass bowl, because the refrigerator doesn't allow for me to put these really big bowls. So it's easier to put things into glass bowls and cover them in the fridge, and that way everybody can see what's available and they can make quick choices instead of leaving the fridge open, which again, during the heat of summer is not a good idea either. So putting everything into glass dishes is easier, and I can fit more in the fridge doing it this way. I can fit 4 of these on a shelf, going across the shelf, and so everybody can see exactly what salads are available to them, and yeah, make themselves a very quick decision as to what they're going to be eating today. And I've also got to get on to doing the next salad as well. So this one finished. Beautiful. Look at that. Because we eat with our eyes. I mean, that does look lovely. Very appetizing. Into the fridge that one's going. And now I can start on the next salad, which will be a coleslaw, I think, or a pasta salad. Not sure. I need to work on that now. Okay, onto the pasta salad. So I have my remainder of my dressing. I've got some drained pasta. So this is 1 kilo of the large shell pasta. I normally would use the small shoal, and I'm just going to do about half of that and reserve half of it for when I do frittata later on or quiche later on. I can use the remainder of the pasta. So just going to mix all that together with some of the shallots that have already been cut up, the green onions as well. So this sauce is much creamier. It's just got the sour cream and the ranch style or Caesar style dressing on it. But got to add some more flavour than that. So it does have the chicken salt in it as well and the pepper. Okay, so that's just what's in here so far. It will need sugar, and I should have done that earlier, but I'm going to use, I'll just use the caster sugar. Thought about using one of the powdered sugar. No, I'm going to go and get some powdered sugar that we've blended up. It will break down and dissolve easier. So I'm just going to use plain powdered sugar, not the vanilla, definitely not, and just a tablespoon of heaps. So to make the powdered sugar, it's just caster sugar that's been blended in a high-speed blender. Okay, so it's just ground up. So that's just made it finer, which will make it a lot easier to break down in this salad over time. Now, the salad needs some colour. Doesn't have any at the moment, really. Put in some corn. I've used the capsicum already, and I don't want to open a full jar in addition to that. So I think I'll just stick with these ingredients. Oh, and some of the ham. Just going to pivot again, and instead of doing ham, I'm actually going to do egg. Because if I put ham in this one, then that means I can't have any of it. Whereas I don't mind eating occasionally some egg. All right, so the 2 boiled eggs that I'd reserved go into here, which is good because this is going to be a curry pasta salad. So that's perfect. All right, let me go and find my curry mix. So I'm simply going to use the Commercial Keen's curry powder. And because I got the hot one the last time, this time I just got the standard one just to make everybody happy. I like the hot one, but apparently too hot for some people. All right, so put all that together, and that becomes my curried egg pasta salad. All right, so that one can also get transferred into a bowl and into the refrigerator, and it's also ready for this evening's dinner or for taking to work and dividing up, and they can have a selection of salads as well as the coleslaw as well. And I now also need to get down from the top shelf the Thai dipping sauce to make the next salad as well, because that's what's going into a fresh coleslaw instead of a creamy coleslaw. We'll be getting the Thai chili dipping sauce added to it. All right, into a container this one can go, and then it can get added to the other salads in the fridge. Okay, on to the coleslaw. So this is the coleslaw that was made up a few days or so ago, and it's going to be turned into a lighter style, not creamy coleslaw. All right, so it's been water bathed. It's got everything you can imagine coleslaw has in it: the cabbage, the capsicums, the shallots, the carrots, everything. And then it just gets water bathed. All right, so again, quick, simple, straight off the shelf. I don't have to do any prep. It's done. So I'm just going to liven it up a little bit. All right, there's nothing wrong with it the way it is, and I like it the way it is. But I've still got some fresh greens and some corn. And I don't put corn in when I'm doing the coleslaw because the corn requires a longer water bathing time than all the other ingredients. So it gets added after. So I'll just add some fresh corn to that. And I'm also going to add some greens. So I've got some shallots left over from the garden that I've chopped up already. So they can go in as well, just to give it some brightness, liven it up. Additional crunch, although it's still really crunchy. It doesn't change just because it's been water bathed. It's still a lovely crunchy salad. But it has got vinegar and sugar as a syrup or a brine. And I'd like to lighten that up a little bit more. So I'm going to be using my Thai dipping sauce as my lighter salad dressing over the top. If I can get the lid off. Oh, holy lordy. These were bottled about 3 years ago. Okay, so I'm just going to add about that much. All right, so that will just give a lovely, fresh, zingy salad dressing instead of having a heavy, creamy dressing That's a lighter dressing. And it's so simple. Like I said, I've already made the dipping sauces. That's why I made them, so that I can just quickly add them to a salad. Done. All right, another one for the fridge. All right, so there the salads quickly made, but I still have pasta left over, and I've still got a few little jars with bits and pieces in them, so let's not waste them. In goes the corn in with the leftover pasta. I've got some shallots as well. Where did they end up? That I'm going to add in. It's okay, because I'm going to grab that one. We're going to be making a macaroni and cheese for this one. Yeah. So all of those ingredients, the shallots will cook as they're finely chopped up. Texturally, they'll break down when I add the cheese sauce. So to make the cheddar cheese sauce, boil a kettle. That's as simple as it is. So I have boiled my kettle, and I simply need to add some of my cheddar cheese sauce mix, or I'll have to measure it out. So I need 200 grams of the mix, and I'm also going to add some of the dehydrated pure cheddar cheese powder. Like I said, I was making quick and easy meals today. I'm not looking around for things to do, so the fridge is looking like a rainbow of coloured food in there at the moment. And my son doesn't particularly love rainbow coloured food, so he likes pretty bland, but he loves mac and cheese, and I haven't done this one for a while, so I'll just grab some water. So I'm going to need 500 grams or 500 mils of water added to this sauce mix. 2 cups. So, okay, that all just needs to be blended together. Ow, no cooking, which is what's good about this sauce. So this will turn into typical nacho style cheese sauce. As you can see, bright yellow. When you first see the cheese powder for the cheese sauce, it's very blonde, very white. You would not realise just how golden it becomes when it's mixed up. Just needs to be whisked together until all of the lumps are gone and it's ready to be used straight away. So I'm going to pour it over the top of my pasta. It can also be poured over the top of nachos or used as a dip for chips, corn chips. So I'm going to just pour all of that cheese sauce. I'll show you how it looks. It thickens as it cools. We will put that straight over the pasta. Mix all that through. And then from the pizza that we were making a few days ago, we've been making pizza quite a lot as well, I've got some grated mozzarella. Not that this needs any more cheese. It's got plenty of cheeses in that cheese sauce. But, you know, I'm going to add some more. So I've got my diced ham, but I also just chopped up a little bit extra maple bacon. I figure if I'm going to be adding protein into this, then I might as well be making a large enough serve that it can be meal prepped for several days worth of meals instead of it all getting eaten in one go. Add the grated cheese that I said I had, which is the American cheddar, and some mozzarella. So I'll put some in now, reserve some for the top, because I'm going to bake this back in the oven just for a few moments. See, if I leave it in a bowl, it's literally taken out of the refrigerator in a bowl and eaten in one sitting. So I don't want anybody eating this quantity in one sitting. So that is mac and cheese done as well. So I have more than enough meals prepped for everybody in the family to get them through the next few days, and all I need to do is continue to make the bread rolls for everybody. All right, into the oven, that can go, and another one completed. My job's done for the day. So that's enough meal prepping done for the next at least 3 or 4 days, and I can get busy outside in the garden, which is more important at the moment. So you all have yourselves a lovely day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye now. That's my Food Friday prep done.